Hello again, my mate Vince here, and in this video today we're going to try and fix up this Philips Air Purifier. The model number on this is AC3033, and it is a current model, meaning you can whoops. Well, luckily it was already broken. Sorry, I'm trying to pick it up one hand, and it's not heavy, but it's not very light either. Hope I haven't made it worse. It's a current model, and guess how much it is in the shops? It's a small fortune. You can buy it from Argos, which is like a high street catalogue shop, for £485. Now obviously I bought it 40 because it's a trying to fix video. I paid £99 for it, or £99.99p, something like that, basically £100, which, do you know what, yes, it's a lot of money, but I think it's a fair price for something which is current and in the shops for £485. So basically it doesn't work, and it said on the listing no power. I've got it plugged in at the moment and nothing's happening here when I put my finger on the power button. So is it a problem with this display up here? Is it a problem, could it be as simple as a fuse, or is it something to do with the circuit board as it comes in, or is it a problem on the cable? Who knows? That's what we're going to find out, and hopefully it'd be nice if we could get it working. So I think the exciting thing about this is, for me, is that, let me just unplug it, is that the reviews are amazing for this thing. The reviews on Argos, which are real reviews, you know, they're not, it's not a dodgy website, you can put real reviews on there. And it is pretty much all 5-star across the board, and every single thing says, suffer from hay fever, suffer from allergies, put this on and then it's all cleared up. So I think people are really pleased with it, but obviously it is an expensive product. And the filters, I looked up the filters, apparently they're supposed to last 3 years. Obviously I don't know how old this particular one is. And the filters are £85, so they're not cheap. But it's a Philips product. I'm hoping it's going to be good quality. So yeah, what it's supposed to do is do it all automatically. So it can be on like a low level, keeping the air pure. And then if somebody starts cooking, it's supposed to detect that and ramp up automatically. Or if you paint a wall or use sort of chemical cleaning or something nearby, then it's supposed to ramp up to clear all those things. And it's supposed to work down to, I'll really have to flash it up on screen, I think it was 0.003 of a micron, and it gets rid of like 99.9% of known allergens and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it should be quite an interesting one. So what we have to do is try to take it apart. So now, the very first thing I'm wondering is, I've had a quick look over this. Look here. Could it be something where it only works when, because this is where the power lead goes in, could it be an on and off switch in here that it only works when it has a filter installed? So to begin with, I'm going to undo the screws at the bottom and see if there's some sort of weird switch in there. It could be an easy one. But first of all, let's check the fuse in the plug. It is a 13 amp fuse. Let's see if we've got continuity across it. Apparently it uses the same as a light bulb, but then it says on small print, incandescent light bulb, which is 27 watts. So I presume that's just going to be the average amount, because when it ramps up, it's going to be using more, isn't it? Okay. Fuse is okay, so it's not that expensive item. You would have expected that to be checked out anyway. So just pop that back in. Dropping everything today. It's got some sensor here that's supposed to monitor the room air 1,000 times a second, and you're supposed to use a cotton bud, a Q-tip here, here and here. So we'll have to do that before we turn it on. And to clean the filters, these are just all videos I've seen on the Argos website. You're supposed to run a vacuum cleaner up and down here, so I'll do that as well. I mean, I'm probably biased by the price of it. What, there's something inside there. I'm probably biased by the price, but even the filter does seem to be nice quality. That looks a bit horrible. Right, so there's a load of screws on the bottom here, and they're all crossheads. So let's undo them and see if there's some weird switch going on. Obviously I am unplugged and I'm not going to be working on it when it's plugged in. Unless of course I have to later on in the video to prove something. No, there's nothing here. Ah, okay, so that's probably just to keep the filter in its place. I thought that it might be some fancy on and off switch, but there's nothing there. Right. Okay, so the lead goes along here. Oh, that's nice how they've done the strain relief. Can you see that bit there? The way they've done that. So, yeah, that's quite nice there. So it's going to flex from here, but also here as well. And then it's wrapped around here, going up. Right, we've got a screw here, screw here, screw here, and screw here. But is that going to help us? That's going to take off the bottom. I'm not interested in the bottom because this is just all plastic. It does need a good clean. I can see there's a lot of dust up on these bits here. Screw here and screw here. But again, that's only going to separate out the bottom section from the top section. So we have to attack it from the top. Oh, I can see a load of dust here. So it must have had a bit of use all down here. So if we do get it working, we can give it a good clean. Right, let me have a look inside here. Timsy Auto Air battery. Now, yeah, screw there. There, so we've got screws around the edge, and also we have screws in those bits there as well. So I'm going to need a really long screwdriver to get down in there, aren't I? So I've got to undo all of these. This is going to take a while. So while I'm doing that, we'll shout out my mates Vince, massive, and the members this month are... Oh, hold on a minute, this screwdriver is not magnetic, but yet it was magnetic enough to hold that. Yeah, sorry, so the members are... KitsDigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, Will McCanis, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJVG, Ellis Garbett, Pixie, Robert from Timsy's Auto Air, the one who supplied the battery for this torch, Daniel Watson, Zeke C, and Tony Dean. Massive thanks, you guys. Oh, it's annoying the very last screw fell. Is it going to come out? Yes, it is. Right, okay, now. Right, it looks like there's kind of indentations. I wonder if the whole thing's supposed to turn. Nope. Oh, that didn't sound good. There we go. We're free! Yes, we're free! I can see the circuit board. Right, let's try to get the camera located in a better position. Okay, so we got that there. And then we kind of got the fan here. Is the fan going to come out? Oh, okay, the fan's held in by this cable that goes up. So basically I can't take that bit out, but I can see connections. Let's undo these connections. I know you can't see any of this, can you? Thing is, I can't really sort of do it myself and film at the same time. It's awkward, but I'll, basically there was just a little ribbon cable type thing here. This bit here, that plugged into the board. I've got another big connection. This one here. This one here, let's unplug this one. And, oh, look at that, there we go. Now you can fully see. So, what have we got going on here? We've got a ribbon cable that goes down here, full of dust, that feeds this board at the top, here.
I think first things first, let's see, because look, we've got, this must be the main board. I've got to be careful where I'm touching because I have had it plugged in. There might be voltage in this big capacitor. So we've got the mains voltage coming in here, and this must be what converts it down. This is the power supply. This converts it down to, I presume, lower voltage through this side here, because it's going to be connected to lower voltage to connect up, you know, this ribbon cable that plugs into the board just here. And we have this thing that goes down to, I presume, the fan, because there is something that spins. I don't know if you can see that or not. Is that spinning there? You can see the reflection of it spinning. Apologies, it's very hard to film. Let's get this board out and see what we have on it. There we go. Right now, before we handle this too much, let's just check that big cap and see if we have any voltage. So I'm going to go to DC, and I'm going to go across here and here. Right, okay, we've got no voltage there whatsoever. Yeah, so there's nothing there. Let's take this over to the map and see if we can do some testing on it. Sorry guys, I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for some yellow matte love. Right, so this is the high voltage side here, and this is the low voltage side here, because we have these optocoupler things, don't we? So there's no actual path of electricity between here and here. It's like a diode and an LED. It sort of does feedback, but it's via light. I don't know why I'm even attempting to try to explain. Right, so we have the input coming in here. We have a fuse. This is a T2A250. We have a varistor here. We have a capacitor here. We have the bridge rectifier here. So let's do some testing. Now we know it's safe to work on because I've already checked the cap. So let's just go to continuity. First things first, let's check the fuse. Ooh. Oh, hold on, it might just be because it might be a bit of conformal coating. No, the fuse is okay. Thought the fuse might be dodgy. Right, fuse is okay. So now that goes through to here. Let's just see if we have a path through to here, which is the coil. We do. So we have a path through from there to the coil. Do we have a path through from here to the coil? Yes, we do. Does it go through the coil? Yes, it does. Does this go through the coil? Yes, it does. Coil is intact. Then what happens? Where does that go to? Up to, oh, bridge rectifier. So could it be the bridge rectifier? I can see positive and negative. So it's DC volts on the outside here. Can you see the little positive and negative there? There, you can just see it. And AC on the middle too. So let's flip it over. Let's go to diode test. And let's see what we have. So, no reading, no reading, no reading. Ooh. Do you know what it is? It's just kind of hard because it doesn't want to poke onto the solder very easy. Reading, 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 and all similar readings. So let me just double check that again this way. Nothing. So I think the bridge rectifier is okay. Bridge rectifier. Have we got a short across the capacitor? Ooh. No, we haven't. There must have just been a bit of power in it. Yeesh. Right, okay. I think I'm going to have to get the lead, plug it in here, and actually test for voltage. See, oh, look here, we've got DC. VSS plus 15, MOT, feedback. Ah, maybe it has to register feedback on maybe this one or this one. What's this one say? 15 volts plus 5 volts, ground, 12 volts. We have got pins here. I think we need to plug it in and see if we have, for example, 12 volts between ground and 12 volts, ground and 5 volts, to see what's happening. Then we know whether the power supply is working or not. This is going to be so hard to film, but first of all we need to make sure the lead itself is okay. So again, continuity, live here to brown, which is live, so you can see I've got continuity there, neutral to here. So we're definitely going to have 240 volts AC at the end of that. Now do not copy what you see in these videos here. I'm going to be plugging this in. This is live. If I touch something like the capacitor, it's going to have whatever it is, 300 and something volts DC. If I touch other parts before here, it's going to have 240 volts AC. So there's going to be plenty on here that can kill me, but I'm not going to be putting my hands near it. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into my isolation transformer. So this is going to be really awkward. I haven't plugged it in yet. I'm going to have to plug this into here. And I need to rest it really to be able to measure. Let me try and rest it on my fan. Right, that might be okay because it's all plastic. Right, let's plug it in.
Here it is here. So you can see there, that's what it is.
Right, so this should be live now. So let's start on the bridge rectifier. So let's go to AC. You can see my meter down here. Bridge rectifier is here. So the middle two pins are going to be... This is going to be very awkward because it's going to be moving everywhere. I can't even see the meter properly. See, it's just giving me a bad reading because I think, there you go, 244. Right, let go. That was giving me a weird reading because I'm not on it fully. You've seen how much I struggled when I had to stab it because of the kind of coating on the board. But look, we had 240 volts there. So now let's go on to the outer two and see what DC voltage we have. Right, 332, so that's fine. So now the big cap is here, so we should have voltage going through the cap. Should have the same voltage going through the cap. See, that's misleading. You think there's only 10 volts, but it's because I'm not on it properly. There you go now. There you go. Got to be so careful. Okay, I think we need to turn it over. So I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to wait until the capacitor bleeds away, drains away, and I'm going to go on to, I mean, I could go onto those pins here, but I want to do it from the top. Right, we're unplugged, so let's just watch the capacitor drain away. So you can see it's slowly going down. Now if it wasn't going down, I could use like a resistor across it. I made one up years ago that I could just go across it to drain it completely, or you could put like an incandescent light bulb across it. 9 volts. So now I want to plug it in again, and I want to test on these things here. I'm hoping now that it will be quite easy just to go across them. Yeah, let's plug it in again and see what's happening with these. Right, so we're live again now, DC voltage. I'm going to first of all go on here, so this is DC plus. 300 volts there. Careful. Okay, maybe the fan only gets, well, think about it, the fan's only going, oh, 300 volts because the fan's probably a mains voltage, not a mains, but you know, like a high voltage fan, not like a 12 volt fan. Okay, thinking about it, this is only going to come on when the circuit board above tells this to come on. So I think we need to check here. So let me go to ground here, 12 volts here. Okay, it says 12 volts and we have 13 volts. So that's going to be normal, isn't it? 13 volts. Let's see what else we have. The one next to it should be 5 volts. Right, that is 5 volts, look. 5 volts. I hate working on live power supplies. 15 volts is the next one. That's saying 5 volts. Look, so if I go onto ground, that pin there, which is listed as 5 volts, is 5 volts. But the one next to it listed as 15 is also 5, but it's 4.7. It's not focusing, is it? Let's go on to the last two. 5 volts and nothing. So something says like F7, nothing, MOT, don't know what that is. The 15 volts is down as 4.7 volts. Is that the problem? Is that the problem? Is 15 volts not getting up to the next board? To be fair though, all the other voltages are here. I'm going to unplug that. I don't think the problem is there. I mean, yes, it could be the 5 volts instead of 15 volts or 4.7 volts. But maybe it's only when you turn it on that becomes 5 volts. Not too sure. I think we need to look at the next board on top of here, which is going to be a little bit awkward to get to. So give me a minute, I just want to wait until this capacitor drains down. In fact, I should be able to read it here, shouldn't I? Yeah, we said 143 volts. Right, that's discharged nicely now, so let's work on this board here. I want to free it. I can see a ribbon cable plugged into this board, so I'm just going to disconnect that. There we go. Okay, that's free. Let's get rid of this. See, maybe the power supply is working now because everything's disconnected. Maybe there's something on here that's putting a fault on it. I think this is like a Bluetooth board. So now that still doesn't give me access to the top board. This needs to come apart. No. That's plastic. Does this lever up? Don't know. It's got some big scratches on it already. That's just painted. I need to get access to the bottom of this board. So this is being held in from the middle. Does it turn? Does it spin? So there's no teardown videos on this, so I can't copy anybody. But it means then, by me getting into it, it will be easier for other people. Oh, this is the Wi-Fi card. Can you see here Wi-Fi? Tenth month of 2019. It's got a date on it. I do not know how to get into this. So I tried and I tried and I tried. The black middle section that's got the buttons on, you know, little touch screen, is somehow connected to the black main plastic. This silvery grey grill is independent of them both. But underneath is all moulded. I can see some screws on that little board underneath. I can get to one of them, but I can't get to the other one or two because they're completely hidden. No screwdriver would be able to get in there and no pliers would be able to get in there from what I can see. So I'm thinking it has to be glued on. And when I take it off using heat, surely then it has to uncover some screws. So that is what I am doing. I am using my hot air station at 100 degrees Celsius, which is the lowest it will go. And I'm just gently heating it and trying to pry it up in the hope, surely when I do that, it will uncover screws that I can undo so I can actually get access to this board to see what's going on. Success. No, there's no screws. Oh, what? But look at that there. So hold on, they're just lights and these are the ones here. So look, it's measuring It must be to do with these metal coils. That's nice. Well, it was worth taking it apart just for that. Do you know what? I haven't, apart from making work for myself, I don't think I've damaged that because, you know, it's all on the circuit board down here. Now, is there any hidden screws? No. How on earth are you supposed to come out? Seriously, what? This is a complete and utter mystery to me because there's no screws there. So basically this bit here is being held on to this bit via screws, but I've only undone one screw, so there's probably going to be another one here somewhere. Is the idea that you're supposed to punch through or drill through some of them? Let's get rid of all these cables, they're annoying me. Here we go. Right, okay, so it's a bit bashed up from me just now, but there's nothing wrong with that cable. Well, what I don't understand is, we know the grey is independent of this, because you can see that when I turn this, this is not moving, yeah? But now if you have a look this side here, that circuit board can't be attached to this part here, can it? So how can that be independent? This must be sat in a well. Right, okay, I'm not really getting anywhere here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to plug this back in here. I presume this is the one that gives it power. Let's see if anything lights up with this disconnected, and also, you know, the thing that goes down to the sensor. Okay, so we're plugged in there and there. That's not going to short against anything because it's all plastic. Let's see if we have anything now. So I'm going to plug it in right now. Now let's see if... Wow. Yes! Look at that! Okay, fantastic. That's good. That's good. So it means that something is putting a short on it. Is it going to light through there? I presume it is. Yeah, look, see, it's lit up there, yeah? Right. So what else happens now? So it's only these things down here that do stuff. Can I turn it off again? No, but look, we've got power now, so let's unplug that, and I am then going to plug in one board at a time. I wonder, has the motor put a fault on, or has this? I bet, you know what, I bet it's the Wi-Fi board that's put a fault on. Well, I'm going to leave that a minute or so just because of the, I don't want to get a shock. So something's obviously putting a short on it. Right, that's the Wi-Fi plugged in. Now let's plug this back in. Now let's see if we're still going to have that light come to life. Here goes, plugging it in. Now, ready? Haha! It's the Wi-Fi board, isn't it? Fantastic! Solid! We don't need the Wi-Fi board. I wonder, is it a generic board that you can just buy? Right, unplugged it. I'm going to leave it another minute or so to discharge, and then yeah, let's put it back together, but without the Wi-Fi board. Right, okay. Obviously, this is far from ideal now, but let's see if we can line it up again. So there's a little notch, luckily, just here. So it can't actually be put on wrong. Do you know what?
I think that will be okay. What I might do is add a little bit of heat on it to try to make the adhesive a bit better. So that's that. Let's plug in the filter and this little thing here. All right, here we go. Let's plug it in and see what it does. Come on now. Here we go. Oh, did you hear that bing? This is looking promising. You going to do anything else? Oh, yes you are. Come on now, come to life. Doesn't seem very happy. Right, I'm going to put the base back on just in case there's something to do with, like, you know, pressure against the filter going up. Oh, do you know what? I haven't put the base back on, but look, it's doing something different now. Maybe this is just part of the startup cycle. I can feel, there's wind. There's wind, you can hear it. No way. Now that would be a result, because personally I wouldn't use this part of it anyway, but we will look up this little board and see whether you can buy one. 78%, that must be the filter. L2 gas, don't know what that means. I think we have fixed it. Okay, let's turn it off. Oh, listen to that. Unbelievable. Oh, that's really good. Really, really good. Right, let's bring this over to the yellow mat and let's just make sure, let's see, in case it was that little voltage regulator or something. You never know, it might be fixable. Right, at this moment in the video, it's all good news, isn't it? Looks to be working okay and looks like I've proved the fault onto the Wi-Fi board. Now you might be wondering why I'm fast forwarding through this bit. It's because I spent the next hour and a bit fault finding this Wi-Fi board and chasing a fault that wasn't actually there. You've seen me disconnect the Wi-Fi board and you've seen it come to life. You then see me put the Wi-Fi board back in and it didn't work. You then see me disconnect the Wi-Fi board again and it came to life in the kitchen. So anybody would think that the fault's with the Wi-Fi board, or certainly I would think the fault's with the Wi-Fi board. Now, if you look at this board, there's not really much to it. There's a voltage regulator, and then we've got a blue little board soldered onto it, which has the Wi-Fi chip. So I soldered wires onto this to inject voltage into it, and it didn't matter whether I put in 5 volts, 6 volts, 7 volts, 8 volts, out of that voltage regulator we always had 3.3 volts. The only difference was it got hotter as you increase the voltage because it's trying to convert that lost energy into, well, it's converting the lost energy into heat to give you a stable 3.3 volts out. So as far as I can see, there's nothing wrong with the little green board, but I did find a short on the blue board. So I had to take the shield off the blue board to uncover the chip and the components underneath on the blue board, and I was sure I found a short. So I thought to myself, do I take off the chip or do I take off the capacitors and stuff? I opted for the capacitors on that line, and in doing that I lost near enough all of them. They're all absolutely tiny. Talking about when they're on the end of your tweezers, you can't even see them. The smallest components that you can get, that's what they are. So a tiny bit of hot air and the blowing off it, but basically I didn't know where they went to. The things like that just vanish because they're so small. They look like a speck of dirt. So I test it again after blowing all the tiny little components across the room, and I've still got the same shorts as I did before. I think at the time of the video that it's a fault with the chip. I now know with hindsight there's nothing wrong with this chip. It's just designed to work like that. So there's nothing wrong with this whole board at all. It's perfect. I looked to buy a new blue board, and on AliExpress they used to have them, but they're no longer stocked. I haven't actually checked any further than that. But I just think it's no big deal. I don't need Wi-Fi. The air purifier will still work just with the controls at the top. So this next part of the video, I show you it working. I had it on for hours that evening, but you need to bear with me because I'm going to show you what happens the next day. So here it is wearing away for itself, and it's come up absolutely lovely. I got the vacuum cleaner to it and I went across everything. I got a wet wipe and went in every little nook and cranny. There wasn't really that much dirt to begin with, but there was a few bashes on it and they just wiped straight off. So right now it is actually looking immaculate. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it a couple of days and then finish off the video because I'd like to know a little bit more about it. And
maybe, for example, I can put it on after cooking and stuff like that and see if it gets rid of the smells quicker. For example, in this room now, there's been a bit of flux going on when I took off those components. So maybe it's cleaning out the flux fumes from this room as we speak. So I'll finish up this video in a couple of days. Okay, it's the next morning now, and I had this running for about 3 hours last night. Strange thing is, there's 3 settings on it. There's like an internal allergy index or something, and then there's some PP something or other, and then there's a gas one. The PP one would vary and the gas one would vary, but the internal allergy one just seemed to be on setting 12, which indicates that my air quality is really poor. You know, maybe it is. I do live near a main road and stuff, but yeah, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. But anyway, the reason the board is out on the table again is because I went to turn it on this morning and it wouldn't turn on. Yes, I've tried unplugging it and plugging it in about 10 times and it just won't turn on. So what I've done is I'm wondering if it's output capacitors. So I had a look at this connector here, because this is the connector that goes up to feed the display, and I think that's where our problem is. So what I've done is I've changed these 2 output capacitors here. They are 16 volt 470 microfarad, so I just changed them over with 16 volts 470 microfarad, this one here, and these are also 105 degree rated Celsius, just like these ones here. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not. I also wanted to change this one over, but I haven't got this one. This one is I think it was 35 volt 220 microfarad, and annoyingly my ones are 10 volt and 25 volt. I haven't got a 35 volt one, so I just popped it back. I've just popped it back in. I've had a little bit of glue again just onto here to stop vibration, maybe working them loose. I'm going to pop it in now and see if it works. I'm wondering whether the signal wasn't clean going to these. It seems very young for these to fail, but I can't think of what else it might be. I think it's going to work now. I bet it's something to do with the output capacitors. I will do a quick capacitance check on these and ESR check. Right, this is really interesting. So 16 volts, 470 microfarad. Worst case scenario, it should be 0.18, and if you have a look at this one here, this is testing fine, 0.03, not 0.18. It's less than that, so that's all good. But look at the state of this one. Here we have a resistor. Ready? Oh, hold on. Look at that. 1 ohm. How high is that? So do you know what? There was nothing wrong with that Wi-Fi board. It was just coincidence that when I plugged it in, it was working. But I can't put this back together now because 2 of the resistors blew off when I was trying to take them off, and now I've thrown the rest of them away anyway because they were tiny. So when I was emptying out the yellow mat off the scraps, they just went in the bin. I don't think there was anything wrong with the Wi-Fi side of it. I think it was just coincidence. I think it was that capacitor there causing all the problem, causing it all to fail. And if you have a look at the capacitance on it, it should be 470, and it's reading 380. 380. To be fair, it's not that out. So it's just the ESR that's well out, and that's strange for such a new item. There you go, look at that. Okay, not an ohm now, but still very high, 0.86 when it should be 0.18. Well, okay, I think it's gonna work fine now. Oh, I'm really gutted. I hate intermittent faults like that. But you know what? I'm sure, I haven't done the research yet, I'm sure I will be able to buy one of these somewhere, and then I think the Wi-Fi will be working fine once I just put a new board in. Right, let's plug it in. Are you going to come to life? Yes, you are. Right, okay, let's unplug it, or just turn it off. Let it drain away. Honestly, I did that about 10 times this morning. Anyway, we found the ESR reading on the capacitor. I thought the capacitance would have been well out as well, though. Right, you can see now the power's drained from that. Let's turn it on again. Come on. Brilliant. Okay, I'm slightly disappointed in myself that I've ruined that Wi-Fi card.
Oh, that's a real shame.
But anyway, there you go. Right, I'm going to put all the screws back in, and then I'll test this for a couple of days and I'll end up the video. Right, it's only been about 20 minutes later, but look, it's no longer in the red zone. So luckily the air, look, now that I've gone near it, it's getting worse. That must be my breath. And listen, it's kicked up in speed as well. How insulting is that? Do you know, it'd be quite good to bring friends round and get them to strategically, you know, place this somewhere so that you can tell which one smells the worst when they walk past it. You can hear it. Imagine if it really started to ramp up. Anyway, look, it was not in the blue zone now, it's gone to the purple zone, but at least it's not in the red zone. And if I go across here, can you see now, before yesterday that was in the hundreds. This was always L1, but this was at 12 the whole time. So obviously that capacitor, well, okay, I can't say that yet because I am now in a different room, and I was soldering in the other room when I had this on last night, but it wouldn't go away from 12 no matter how long it was on, even after 3 hours. Look, it's gone up to 5 now. It's really not liking me. I better stop speaking. But I think that capacitor was also giving false readings on this here. Do you know, I think I'm really going to enjoy this little gadget.
Look at this, I'm having great fun with this. I'm using science to basically tell people that they stink. So I've put it into my son's bedroom now, and it's jumped all the way to 8. While when it was downstairs, it was only 1 and 2. Sometimes 3 if you were to walk very near it and stuff. But look at this, it was red a minute ago, it was at 10. So it was like danger, red. Now it's gone to 8. So I'll be curious to see how long it takes to filtrate and purify the air in this room. Look, it's gone to 7 now. It's clever. I'd love to know how it works. Apparently, this is weird, if you download the app, I think it can tell you what sort of pollen it is, like birch pollen and stuff like that. Look, it's gone to 6. How can it detect what pollen? Is it because it's different sizes and the filters in this are strong enough to detect the different size particles? Look at that, we've gone to a kind of purple colour now. It will go to blue when it's like a clean air. This is clever, that it really is purifying. I'm having great fun with it. Okay, it's been about a week and a half later now, and I fully got to grips with this thing here. Do you remember when I first of all unplugged the Wi-Fi board and then I brought it into the kitchen and it started to work? It wasn't working properly then. I've just edited up the video and I can see it's kind of boot looping. It's going on and off, on and off, on and off. Every single time now it's working, and it wasn't doing that before. So what I thought was working properly, it wasn't. Also, it was giving false readings. 100% the only problem wrong with this was that one output capacitor that had a high ESR reading more like a resistor than a capacitor. The Wi-Fi board is not faulty on this, but I'm not going to beat myself up because I did unplug it, it started to work. I plugged it in, it stopped working. I unplugged it and it was working. So I think a lot of people would have made that mistake. Looking back at the video while editing, I think the telltale sign was when I was measuring the board on the power supply, the output. Do you remember it should have been 15 volts and it was 4.7 volts? I'm wondering now whether that was because of the output capacitor. I haven't measured it after that, and I don't really want to take it apart to measure it again because it takes a bit of time. I'm wondering now with that new capacitor in whether that really would be measuring 15 volts. Look at that, it's ramping up now. Again, it doesn't like the smell of me. But yeah, it seems to work well. Now, I haven't got any pets in my house and it's the wrong time of year for pollen. I think this will come into its own next summer, or the build up to summer, when the hay fever season starts again. I'm looking forward to using it then. So I think for £100 it was well worth it. It's a current item and it all failed because of one capacitor. Why did that capacitor fail so quick? I don't know. Could it just be a faulty capacitor from manufacture? Or is it because if this is running all the time, maybe you are putting a lot of strain on those capacitors? I don't know, because I can't imagine that board getting particularly hot in there. So I really don't know the cause of the problem. But at least we found what the problem was. Still a mystery to me how to fully take it apart. Maybe if you know how to do it, please add it down to the comments below, because I spent ages on that. But overall, I think
an enjoyable video to me to make. I've got a product at the end of it that I think is well worth £100. I will look for one of those Wi-Fi cards. If I can find one, then I'll pop it in there, and that could be maybe a little revisit video. So if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Apologies for all the messing around on it and stuff, but we did get there eventually. And hopefully I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching.